In 1961, the premier of the Soviet Union, Nikita Khrushchev, wanted to add all of Berlin to his communist empire, but the President of the United States, John F. Kennedy, who controlled the other half of the city, didn't want to let him. And so they were in a back and forth for a while where neither of them ever gave up, until one of the Russian government ministers had the idea to build a wall to separate the two systems of government. Kennedy didn't mind the idea, since the wall represented the end of hostilities and in a way prevented the Cold War from turning into a conventional war that would quickly become World War III. So, thinking about that, he didn't care much about the people who would be left in the eastern part of the city. Stories of citizens who would be trapped, so close and yet so far from their family and friends, condemned to an uncertain future within a system that would deny them their freedom and their prosperity. A system that would organize their whole lives, what they would eat, where they would work, and even how many children they would have, even what they should think, and what they couldn't talk about.
Check one, check.
Years passed, and with the arrival of Mikhail Gorbachev and his idea of reforming communism, which by then already had a worldwide reputation for being corrupt and murdering its own people, as much as the communist leaders wanted to hide it, the inhabitants of the eastern part of Berlin, seeing that communism in the Soviet Union was weakening, held a peaceful demonstration, the first time the people dared to do so much. The communist leader Erich Honecker tried to evict the assembled people using the army's violence, to the point that Gorbachev himself disavowed him, since the images of the protesters being beaten by the soldiers were going around the world. On November 9th, 1989, the spokesman of the East German Communist government announced in a press conference that, to appease both the people and international pressure, they would allow East Germans to travel abroad. A journalist asked him when it would take effect, to which the politician, who due to the commotion had messed up the documents he was carrying, instead of saying tomorrow, said immediately. Immediately, the crowd that was gathered outside the room, upon hearing that, ran to the nearest wall border crossing. The guards who were at the wall, seeing such a large crowd of people coming, did not dare to open fire on them, given that the people were shouting that the government had given the order to open the gate, thus allowing free passage to anyone who wanted it. When the politicians realized what was happening, people from both sides were already climbing the wall with tools and tearing it down. And it was a mispronounced word, a simple mistake in misreading a document, that finally caused the Berlin Wall to fall. Think about this. When you build walls in your life, you not only hurt yourself, but also those around you. But when you tear down the walls that prevent you from growing as a person, you are the first to benefit. And then your family, and then your neighbors, and then your city, and then your country, and then the whole world. But the most important and worst wall that needs to be torn down is the one between God and you. And that was formed because of your sin. God sent his son Jesus to die for you, so that if you come humbly before him and repent and ask for forgiveness, he can forgive you, and you can start living a new life without walls, having God by your side, walking with him on earth, and then being taken to heaven to live by his side forever. May God bless you greatly.